What's it like to be at such a big conference?
Well, it is big. I mean, compared to FIA or the AFP conferences, which I go to in Australia, we had 4,200 people, I think there was there, so it was pretty big. There was people who I knew were there from Australia and so forth, and you have no chance of bumping into people. You really do need to arrange to meet people in certain places. It's pretty tight in terms of the number of people there. Amazing atmosphere. So many people running around in so many different directions trying to get to different things, and yeah, it's just big.
That's nice. So I heard that Bill Clinton, Queen Latifah, Mycoskie was there.
They were, yeah. So there was some really interesting big picture, or I don't know what they call them, just the big names to make sure that people turn up. So the opening plenary was by Mycoskie from Ted's Shoes, which you may or may not have heard of. It's a great organisation that actually retails shoes, but for every pair of shoes you buy, another pair is actually given to someone in the developing world, in particular Argentina. He was fantastic, really motivating speaker, really interesting, engaging, a wonderful way to start the conference. About halfway through the conference, we had Queen Latifah, who was there. She's a big philanthropist and does a lot of work with charities. I was really excited to see her, actually. I was really looking forward to it. She was interesting, but it wasn't as inspiring. It was very much a lot about her and why she ended up becoming a philanthropist and her family and the trials that she had in becoming incredibly famous and incredibly rich. So it was like a kind of celebrity interview that you might see on the TV. So it wasn't quite as relevant, but it was still pretty good and obviously a big name to attract people along. And the third was a guy that you might have heard of, President Bill Clinton. And he was brilliant. I mean, he started off, obviously he's a big philanthropist as well, done a lot of work promoting philanthropy. But it's also really interesting just how ridiculously knowledgeable he is. So he was really coming up with lots of facts about science, about how the fact that we've got 5% of our genetic coding makes us Neanderthals and all sorts of different things. And he was talking about life on other planets and the exoplanets that we found. It was just all over the place. He's like a walking subscription to New Scientist. He was a very interesting chap. But towards the end as well, he identified with the fact that we really ought to be doing more with monthly giving and long-term commitments through there, which was great. So he gets that concept. So that was really interesting.
I wish I went. So what's the difference between US fundraising and fundraising throughout the world and other places?
I think the fundamentals are the same, really. It's about asking people who care and who have the capacity to give. I think that's the key thing. And that's the same in the US as anywhere else. Americans give more than anyone else in the world. I think possibly half of all worldwide giving is from America at $227 billion per annum. It's pretty big. The actual fundraising techniques, when you talk to fundraisers, they're similar in most ways, but they have a big trade fair at the conference. And at the trade fair, you wouldn't believe the number of kind of golf events and recognition things you can buy, like crystal glasses and bricks to put in your hospital walls and things like that. There's a lot of those sort of things around. The people that are actually at the conference are mostly from smaller organizations, so state-based charities. The databases they have, when you talk to them, are comparable in size to what we might have in Australia. The issues they have, the problems they have are very similar. I think we have this sort of belief in Australia that for American boards, it's give, get, or get off. And that may be the case for some boards, but for most charity boards in America, it's just like in Australia. They're not really like that. They need motivation just like anywhere else. So that was interesting. The other big thing that they really haven't got, it's unbelievable that out of a group of about 400 people in a monthly giving session, only about 10 of them had more than 1,000 monthly donors, and none of them had more than 5,000 monthly donors. So there's a big difference in their approach to monthly or regular givers, or sustainers is what they call monthly givers, or regular givers, which I quite like. It makes more sense than regular givers. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. So who should go to this conference, and do you feel it was worth it?
I think it was definitely worth it from my point of view. I had a couple of sessions to present. The trip is obviously quite a long one. I think if you can tie it in with other trips around in the US while you're here, go and see some other fundraisers. Americans are very friendly and lovely, and if you get in touch with people, then people will probably be willing to share ideas with you and spend some time. The next one's in Vancouver. I do think that it is worthwhile for junior to middle level fundraising managers. I think it'd be great incentive, perhaps as a bonus scheme or something for people to look forward to. It is a bit of a treat to get over the other side of the Pacific and to see some American stuff. So I think it's worthwhile, but more like junior middle level.
Excellent. Well, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Sam. That's it. Bye.